What is up, everybody? I am back with another really cool and special video here tonight. I have my first ever interview with the wonderful and talented Miss Leather Leone of Chastain. Leather, thank you so much for coming on. How's it going tonight?
It's going great. You know, we're all dealing with this pandemic shit, so let's talk. I'm doing well, thank you.
Of course, and actually on that point, I did see yesterday you posted you got your second dose of the vaccine. How are you feeling after that? Pretty good?
Yeah, it didn't bother me at all. I got to tell you, I felt kind of weird after the first one, but I'm kind of psychosomatic. I can make shit happen, but no, it was fine. I want to get moving, so I was excited to get it. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear you're feeling good after that. And first thing I want to get into is your most recent solo album, Leather 2, came out in 2018. It's really awesome stuff. Your band is absolutely killer on it. And you still sound fantastic. After all these years later, you still sound amazing, very fresh. Just talk about how that all came together and any like how do you still keep your voice sounding so great? Any tricks, or is it just natural?
Well, no, everybody asks me that. Dude, the tricks are sleeping, water, and cardio. Sleep, 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 water, 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 cardio, cardio. I didn't even work my voice out that much. But what happened is, you know, I made a couple of records with Chastain, so he doesn't want to tour anymore at all. So someone got in touch with him in 2014 to go to Brazil, and he didn't want to do it. So he hooked me up with these people. So I went down and started doing shows, and I did the Rob Rock tour in 16. And there was this band, and I was like, fuck. Yeah. So we just really melded together, and we said, hey, let's try to write a record. And we wrote two. It came out great. So it was all by chance. I always say to people, you never know what's going to happen in your life. You know, it was just, come down and do a Chastain show. Okay. Yeah. So I met them down there playing.
Yeah, I saw they're all from Brazil, and absolutely killer band. Are they? So all those same guys are going to be on your next album, and when can we expect that to be out?
I think that Vinny's going to do most of it. My guitar player and I basically are the people that are secluded in our writing. I am talking to Braulio Drummond about doing the drums again. Probably Kiko. I'll probably put Kiko Shred on it too. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen.
Very cool. Is there like estimated date for that to be out yet? You have most of it written
this year.
Yeah.
This year.
Awesome.
You know, we go to Poland. That's another crazy story. I go to the Hertz Studios in somewhere around Warsaw, and they do all the metal that, you know, they do Behemoth and Hate and Vader. And when we did the vocals in Brazil, and we didn't like them. Vinny and I didn't like them. So we were on the road, and they know him at Hertz Studios. So they let us go in. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm going back there. They're incredible. It's an incredible studio. To be in the studio vibe again really helped me. So I'm going to go back and do it there. I'm going to do everything there from scratch. I'm really excited.
That's awesome. And hopefully that happens this year for sure. And
yes.
I recommend, if anyone hasn't heard Leather's most recent album, just go listen to the song Juggernaut. It's fantastic. And then you'll get hooked. You'll get hooked for the rest of the album. But, and you mentioned that David Chastain doesn't want to tour anymore. Is there any like plans of him maybe getting you back to do another studio album for Chastain, or is that done?
Well, we were actually talking about it before COVID. He started saying to me that he had some more material that he thought would be Chastain-y, that would fit us. And that was last spring, and then COVID hit. So, you know, and he was kind of teetering anyway. Chastain is really set, you know, he just runs a studio. He writes all, you know, puts all his music out. So he was like, I don't really know if I want to do it again, but I'm considering it. So I don't know. I would imagine it's a real long shot now.
Yeah. Gotcha. I mean, there's a lot of great material there already for people to go listen to at Chastain, but something new would be great.
Yes.
So I guess now I just want to jump way back. Just curious, you know, around what age and how did you discover you had such a powerful voice? And
God, that's a good question. Nobody ever asks it to me like that. I always sang. I was always the one in school that had the balls to sing. I don't think I sang well. I had a really cool Catholic church that did like rock music. So I started singing like Fleetwood Mac and Elton John, and we even did Zeppelin at these messes. And I did musical theater. But again, I don't think I was very good. I was always really frightened and held back. Yeah. But I started singing. I went to college, and I say that loosely, outside of New York City, and I started singing in cover bands, but I wasn't good. I can tell you I wasn't good. But I knew I wanted to do it. So when I moved to California, I auditioned for a band called Rude Girl. And they asked me, can you try to sing like Bon Scott? And I'm like, well, I'll try.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it, but that was it. I knew that was what my body wanted to do. And then I met Dio and I got introduced to him. So it wasn't until like 83 in my body, I was like, yeah, this is it. But I rehearsed, I was in the studio for like a year before I could hone it a little bit.
Okay. And I've noticed like in the past, a lot of guitarists, when they're talking about when they're like coming up, getting like started, they mimic and like learn certain songs like note for note. Like, when you were coming up, who were some of the front men and front women that you kind of like modeled your style after?
Always. Someone turned me on to Heart when I was really young. So, I never had any lessons, but I did go to one lesson one time, and the woman said to me, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be better than Annie Wilson. And she goes, you will never be better than anyone. You have to be the best you can be. So Annie Wilson, when I was young, I listened to Stevie Nicks, but I always liked Zeppelin, but I couldn't do it. But always, it's always been Dio, Dickinson, and Tate. Since I moved to California, they were it. Always.
Very cool. Those guys are all great. Yeah, you mentioned you started like going to college around like New York, and so you're from New York originally, and then you moved to California. Was the move to California like specifically to pursue a music career, or did you just happen to like move there?
I was doing nothing. I was doing nothing but getting high, and I was bored. And I had a friend that had just moved to Berkeley, and she said, "Come on out and see me." And of course, you're so young, but in those days, people would put posters on telephone poles looking for singers, guitar players. Like I said, I knew I wanted to sing, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any support. And a friend of a friend of a friend brought me the thing for Rude Girl. They said they wanted a nail spitter singer. So I was your age, and I just went for it. Yeah, I just walked in and got the gig.
That's awesome. And so that was around 83, you said, right?
Yeah, 82, 83, I moved out here, I think. Yeah.
And I've heard you say in the past that around that time for Rude Girl, you guys were opening for like Exodus and Megadeth. And how was that whole experience? And
it was sick, dude. It was so cool. My training ground, there was this little butchy girl in front of I got spit on and thrown at, and I loved it. I loved the antagonizing. I really, really, really enjoyed it because by the time I was gigging, I knew that I was good. I knew I was good enough. So, I loved it. It wasn't fearful. It was actually very comforting. I'm getting a flashback of when we played with the Stone and opened up for Megadeth. And that was back in the day when Mustaine was always loaded and Blackie was there from Wasp. And it was just this huge, and I just went up and wailed. But yeah, I got booed. It was great. It was a great way to learn how to try to get a crowd,
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And I really wish I could have been there, but
me too.
That would have been.
It was great.
So with Rude Girl, about how long did that last? And how did you end up getting the Chastain gig after Rude Girl?
I think Rude Girl was, God, I'm so bad with time, definitely a year probably. And I have to tell you, we were and again, you're so young. In those days, labels and management went out to clubs to see you. So I had hooked up with Shrapnel Records, Mike Varney. I had hooked up with CBS, and everybody was courting us. But I'm not going to bore you with the details. Of course, it didn't work out. But during that time, I had become really good friends with Mike Varney from Shrapnel. So as soon as Rude Girl fell apart, I literally went home and called him, and he said, "You know what? I know this guy." And he had been doing the shredding records back then, and he had met Chastain. So for some reason, Chastain, I don't know if it was because of the notes, the keys that he wrote in, but he wanted to work with a woman. Who wanted to work with a woman back then? So I did Mystery of Illusion, Winds of Change, and Black Knight on a little 4-track demo in somebody's bedroom. I was making that record, in 84? Yeah, I was making it within 3 months.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And those classic Chastain records are just so great to me. Some of my favorites of all time. Yeah, I love them. Yeah, I love them. But I was curious, out of those first 5 Chastain records, which one was maybe your most fun to make and your favorite looking back?
Probably Ruler of the Wasteland, because Ruler of the Wasteland, I kind of learned what I was doing vocally. And I had more say in it, like literally Mystery of Illusion. I was just a deer in the headlights, and I couldn't really use my voice. I was just yelling. But Ruler of the Wasteland really was different for me. I was really confident. That song Ruler of the Wasteland was huge. And we just really started bonding then. So Ruler of the Wasteland for sure. And then, you know, I'm so proud of all of those, but and it's funny that you say you like those records. The 80s sound, the wind tunnel reverb thing really, really bothered me. But then all the other ones, then it became to arena rock. You know, it was such production back then. That's why I tried to make two. And I think I made two a little too dry, but I just wanted to spit and pop and hear incorrect notes. And I mean, that production, dude, press the button, you know, it was that wind, but that was the sound, right? That was the sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do love it. And yeah, I do. And you had your first solo album came out in 1989, Shockwaves. You know, what was like the whole process behind that? Was there there wasn't any problems with Chastain? You just wanted to make your own album? Okay. And
again, I don't remember, but he says that he did that for me because I was always, you know, it's like I wanted to be bigger. It's like, why aren't I up there with everybody else? You know, Doro, Lita, you know, Ronnie, we're good. You know, I'm good enough. So back then it was Road Racer, which is now Roadrunner. They were a major, but it was before they got really big, before Nickelback, I think. And that was part of the deal. I know that Chastain did that. They wanted For Those Who Dare. So he said, in order for you to get this, I know he did that. He's like, you have to let Leather do a solo record. And I mean, it's not much of a stretch, but it was the first time that I got to sit down and do vocals, do melodies, and do lyrics. I mean, I still love that record. I love that record.
That is a really good album. And I got to say, the song In a Dream, one of the high notes you hit in that song is one of the most impressive things.
Dude, everybody says that. Yeah, I was goofing around, but I was walking around in the studio and I just did it to be funny. I think I don't like it, but everyone's like, oh, that note, I was fucking around.
That's awesome. But like when you do hit a note that high, like you got to get yourself all like super focused and amped up, or to just come like supernatural and like easy to you. Yeah.
I can't sing that high anymore, dude. But it just came. That's what I used to do to warm up. I would walk around. And, you know, I think a lot of artists do that. I think a lot of people back in the day, they would just keep the tape running because you never knew. And that happened with me a lot. I would just be by myself and be singing something and they would use it because it was pure. It was great, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. And of course, you kind of stepped away from the music scene in the early 90s. Just a hypothetical here, you know, had you continued on throughout the 90s, a lot of bands were changing their sounds and like experimenting a lot. Just hypothetically, had you continued on, maybe like what type of metal would have you liked to play throughout the 90s?
I don't know if grunge was considered metal, but I love that Seattle sound, Soundgarden, Eddie, I loved that crap. Nirvana, loved it. I don't know. It's hard to say. You know, that really had a lot to do with why I did step away because Chastain and I don't know, we just kind of took a mutual break. It was no big deal. Yeah. There was nothing happening for the band. And I always thought that I could just step into something else. I actually wanted to get into something heavier vocally, but nobody took me seriously. And it was a real slap in the face for me. All the labels, they didn't want me to be who I was. And I'm real stubborn that way. I mean, I can only do what I do. It's all I want to do. I don't want to do sex. I don't want to do industrial. I don't want to do freaking operatic stuff. So that's really why I went away. There were no offers for me that were pure, you know, and it's like all of a sudden I'm going to show up at a bustier. I mean, come on, dude, you know? Yeah.
That's crazy to me that nothing ended up happening for you around that time. People are just stupid that they didn't jump all over.
It was different. It was different back then. And in all honesty, you know, I really didn't fight for it. I was just like, okay. You know, I really didn't fight for it. I was like, okay. And I just closed the door and figured I would never do it again. Because, you know, like you say, I'm so proud of that Chastain stuff. Oh my God. I'm so proud of that. You know, being one of the handful of females that came out, I blew, man. So I didn't worry about it too much.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, during that whole time off, like, what did you spend your time doing? Like,
I got into animals. I got into pit bulls. I'm a huge pit bull rescue person still. I dove into animals. I'm very lucky in my life. I like two things, music and animals, and I get to do them both. So yeah, I just went away. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? Now that it's back, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So, of course, you came back around 2010. You know, what was like your main motivation for coming back, and how did that whole process go?
Well, unfortunately, it was the loss of Ronnie Dio. I had been so far removed, I didn't even really know he was sick. And then when we lost him, it was mind-blowing for me, as it was for everyone. so I went to LA to attend his funeral and all that stuff that you do. And it's funny that you say that. I can remember sitting outside of his service, and it's beautiful. It's where they buried him, Forest Hills, up by Silver Lake. And you know, Bryce, I just started feeling so innate. Oh my God, the powers that be had given me this voice, and I was doing shit.
Yeah.
So it just really, really hit me, and it's like I really did it for him. I started talking to my old drummer, and I wanted to do something for him, for Wendy, for him. He was the only reason I sang. So that's why I got back into it.
Very cool. And I've actually, last year, I got a chance to go to Ronnie James Dio's grave.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, it's very beautiful and really cool. And of course, Lemmy's like right.
The way the sun comes in the big statue of Jesus, you think he's going to walk around the corner.
Yeah, you do. And of course, you know, there's the Lemmy's right across from him, which is cool.
Yeah.
And
Bette Davidson, who's the pianist. The pianist is there. The wonderful gay man. I can't think of his name, but yeah, it's beautiful there.
A ton of really cool, famous people buried there.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you've been talking about Ronnie James Dio. I'm curious. I've seen pictures of you guys together. Like, how did you all develop that relationship, and how close were you all?
No, he knew many people. I probably hung out with him 6 or 7 times.
Okay.
Like I said, once I heard his voice, it was over for me. I was just Dio obsessed. And again, me and my drummer at the time went to his shows in Mountain View, I think, and we kind of separated. I was just, and somehow she was just phenomenal for this. End of the show, she whistled. We were on his bus, and again, you're so young. We were carrying around our cassette. He put it in. And he just always talked to me about vocals. He was so honest with me. And after the first time I got over I was just, you know, and the song actually on Shockwaves, Something in This Life, is from a conversation I had with him, because I looked at him and I said, I'm so sorry that I'm in awe of you, but do you have any idea, you know, the magic that you have, what you do to people, and, you know, and that's what he said to me. He goes, you will obtain it in your life. It's something in this life that you will obtain as you get older and keep doing it. So that just obviously stuck with me. And then like I said, you know, I used to go to his shows and hang out with him and the guys. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so more on like coming back. So the first thing you did back was called Sledge Leather. That was with Sandy Sledge, who was in Rude Girl with you way back in the day, right?
Yeah. And Scott Warren and Jimmy Bain. Come on, dude.
Wow. Yeah.
There I am. And we went to, I'm sorry, I can't think of the name of the studio down there where Dio used to practice for his tour. I want to say Sun Studios, but I could be wrong. We'd go in there and rehearse and I would be like shaking and I'm like, oh my fucking God, Scott Warren is in my car. So, yeah. But I must tell you, I didn't just jump back into it. I probably, again, sang and went in and out of studios just to see what I sounded like for a good 6 or 7 months. Because I pride myself on being an okay singer. And you have to come back and be that okay, or you can't do it, right? So, then Sledge Leather came to be,
That's cool. And then pretty shortly after that, you rejoined Chastain. How did that all happen? Did he did you call him up? Did he call you up? What?
Yeah. It's funny that you say rejoin, but I have always been in touch with him, about business. So, and he knows that I wanted to get back out there, and he doesn't. And he's always so good to me. So he said, look, I have this material, blah, blah, blah. But again, it was the same thing. It's like, we have to be as good as we were before. So we did Surrender to No One, and then we just kind of got into the motion of We Bleed Metal. It was like I'd never left. Being in the studio with him is fucking hysterical because we're total opposites. I'm like this, and he's, you know, so it was killing. But he told me, I was hoping he would change his mind, but he told me from the beginning, I'm not going to tour. And I mean, the offers that we still get, oh my God, it breaks my heart. But I really like We Bleed Metal. I'm one of those artists. I think there's a lot of them. I can't listen to myself after I make a record. You just hear everything that you should have done better, you know? So
I mean, those two, like the most recent Chastain albums, are really great as well. So if anyone hasn't heard those, definitely go check those out. And so once the whole pandemic is over and all of that, like any touring, like plans you have, like where do you want to go? All this everywhere.
I want to go everywhere.
Everywhere.
I really love South America. I love Germany, and this is what I'm not worried about it, but you know, at my level, I think it's going to take a little while because you can see all the big bands now are changing their tours to the end of 21 or to 22. So nobody's really booking right now because they're just concentrating on those big shows. So I'm hopefully just going to be in the roll down. But oh yeah, I'm wide open. I'm going to get this record done. I just want to live out of a suitcase, you know, because I had such a good roll going. Fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks, but yeah, hopefully you get to tour around the States because I really would like to see you live, meet you in person. That'd be great.
Where are you? Where are you?
I am near Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh my God. I should, if I go to Atlanta to record, I'll call you. That's where Chastain is. Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah. I was curious too, like going back to Chastain, if you look on like the Metal Archives website, it says that y'all were formed in Cincinnati. Is that like where y'all were based out of, or you were based in a?
Yes. That's where he lived. I moved to California and my band was in Cincinnati. That's where we were. David's house was where that was our hub all the time. I was there half a year all the time. We would record there, tour from there. Yeah, Cincinnati. So a lot of people think I'm from Ohio. I spent so much time there. Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of the pictures you post. It's at like Bogart's in Cincinnati.
Bogart's, great club. So, that was the first club I ever played with Chastain. And, you know, I mean, I had been playing little clubs, 100, 200 people. And I think it holds somewhere around 2,000 people. And it was insane. And Chastain's been playing there for years. He's the local hero. Mm-hmm. It was nuts. And there was also a club called Annie's there. Oh my God. Yeah. Ohio dude was such a metal mecca. So killer. It was so great.
Mm-hmm. Is there any, like looking back on those days, are there any like tours or bands you like touring with, or any like specific shows that really stick out to you as being some favorites?
Well, yeah, I've only been blessed enough to play a few Coliseums. I played with Kiss. I would like to play with Kiss forever. I played with Cooper. I'd like to play with him forever. Wow. But you know what? I had a really great tour in Brazil. Of course, not on that same level, but with Rob Rock, where I told you I met my band. It was a great tour. He does really well down there. And yeah, that was a great tour. I don't know. I think it was 5 weeks. We just went around and he was really well received. So they were like 1,000-seaters. Yeah, that was a great tour. It was a really good time. I just want to tour. Yeah. I'll play in your backyard. I don't care.
Come on, let's do it. So I've just got some like quick kind of like fun questions here to kind of close out. But so curious, what was the first album you ever bought?
Crazy Horses, the Osmond Brothers.
Nice.
Crazy Horses.
Very cool. What's your favorite album of all time?
Oh God, probably Heaven and Hell, Houses of the Holy. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean the old day, the old time. Yeah. It's definitely something Ronnie did, but probably Heaven and Hell for sure. But I got to tell you, right up there is Rainbow, Stargazer. Yeah, Rainbow Rising. I'm sorry. Yeah. Great
choices. And I'm sure you probably see I do like album rankings of bands and stuff.
Yes.
I ranked Heaven and Hell the #1 Black Sabbath album, and of course, people like to try to dismiss and like belittle anything that's not Ozzy era. Sometimes it just annoys me because I think Dio's era and Sabbath was definitely the best.
Well, you know what, dude? It was the Prince and the King, and I totally get it. Ozzy's crazy and lovely in the original, but Ronnie was just the sense of the kingdom and royalty, which is different. And they were both great. But you know, I was never blessed enough I never saw Ronnie with Sabbath. I was never blessed enough. Did you?
No, I'm not. No, I wasn't even close to.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. Well, that's right. I'm sorry. He's been gone 9 years. That's right. I'm sorry. I did see Ozzy, but yeah, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting on that one.
No, that's okay. I mean, I could have seen the Heaven and Hell bands that they put together there, like right before he passed away, but I didn't get a chance to see that.
Because I saw the picture with your dad, so I figured your dad probably brought you some shows.
Yeah, he's taken me to some, but unfortunately we didn't get to see those. I'm curious, what was the very first concert you ever attended, and what was your favorite concert you've ever seen?
Again, the Osmond Brothers. My mother took me to see the Osmond Brothers. I think I was in 7. Oh my God, I bawled and bawled and bawled. But God, you know, you're making me think. My father finally let me go to a concert, I think when I was in 10th grade, Blue Oyster Cult. Wow. And I can remember walking into the arena, because I was always good at getting backstage, walking into the arena. It was them and Foreigner. And hearing the bass drum sound check and going, motherfucker, I got to do this. So that really made an impression on me. But I think, you know, what was the first Dio? I think I saw Holy Diver. I mean, just everything Dio's ever done. But yeah, you made me think of that Blue Oyster Cult thing. I was blown away. And I met other wives, and I was on the bus going, oh my God, I want to do this. And they're going, no, you don't want to do this. I'm like, yeah, I do. So I think it was Blue Oyster Cult that really made me go. I was a kid, I was 15, 16.
It sounds amazing. And last kind of question here. If you could put together as like a super group to sing or to sing for, of people like alive or dead, who would you want playing?
It would be Iommi, Geezer, and probably one of the, God, I really like Dean Castronova though. Or Mike, what's Mike's name? Portnoy?
Mike Portnoy, yeah, from Dream Theater.
Yeah, but I really like Mike, my friend who's in Symphony X, Mike, I can't think of anybody's name. But the Sabbath guys, come on. And again, a funny story, when I was in Rude Girl, we had the same lawyer. We had Black Sabbath's lawyer. Her name is Michelle. So I used to go, can you get me an audition? And then when Ozzy left, I actually got a tape that Tony, please. And he was like, thank you. Good luck.
Wow. But
it would be, yeah. I would like to be a background singer to Ronnie.
Yeah, that'd be.
Or maybe Hendrix on the. No, I'm into Sabbathy stuff. I mean, I love so much of the stuff that's happening now. I'm totally into Ginger. I'm blown away by Spirit Box. I really like Trivium. Do you like the new stuff that's coming up? Well, it's not new, but to me it's new.
I like a lot of the newer stuff old bands put out, and I like this movement called the New Wave of Traditional Heavy Metal. It's like a bunch of like younger bands that are coming up trying to capture that 80s sound. A lot of it kind of based off like Chastain and like Agent Steel, all these classic bands. Stuff like Skull Fist, Enforcer, Holy Grail, those types of bands.
I've been hearing a lot about that because I meet a lot of these women, I met like Cobra, and I hang out with Vicky when she's in town, and they all talk about it. I mean, the 80s was an incredible thing to be part of, but you kind of don't think about it that way. But I noticed a lot of them are getting into that kind of rhythm of the older men. It's great. God bless them.
Yeah, it's amazing. So just before we wrap up here, any final thoughts you wanted to say, and like where
everybody listen to Leather 2. Go to leatherleone.com to stay in touch with what I'm doing. I'm going to do a new record. Vinny Tex and I are writing like crazy. This stuff is insane. And thank you always for following me. Love and Dio to everybody. You guys are incredible because I've been around since like 1927, as I say.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for this.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining me. And that was a great conversation. And thank you. And everybody, thank y'all for watching. Until next time.
Woo-hoo. See you later. Ciao.